You expect letters and packages in the mail, but what if someone in your own household was ordering something illegal online and having it delivered right to your door?
Yeah, would you know? And would you turn them into police when you found out? ABC15 investigator Lori Jane Gliha shows us the new ways kids are getting drugged.
And the strange things they're doing when they're high.
For many neighbors nestled in this quaint Prescott community,
all right, come on, bud.
Life couldn't be more serene. But for Kat Forey,
it's hard when you practice trying not to look back.
Things are almost too quiet in the house she was fixing up with her only son.
I can't finish any of the things that we had started.
She lost him last year when he lost his mind to synthetic drugs.
I never, ever could have imagined the phone call I got.
At the end of Calvin Forey's 27-year life, his bedroom had become disheveled, and he was seeing things. He thought soldiers in night vision goggles were chasing him. His mother remembers a demon look in his eyes.
When he looked up at me, I mean, the gaunt eyes, the drawn, I could see cuts and stuff on him and burns and that, and I'm like, and he looked up at me and said, yeah, I'm back on bath salts. And the eyes drawn in and scary, and I ran.
Calvin Forey bought some of his synthetic drugs at local shops, but his mom warns it was easy for him to order things online. He'd do things like delete the history on the computer so she wouldn't see it, or he'd have the drugs delivered to a local hotel. But there are more extreme ways that kids are getting around their parents by using the deep web.
I bent the case backwards so that the binding came away from the case, and that's when the package slipped out.
This Indiana mom wouldn't show her face, but says she turned her son into police when he had ecstasy shipped to her house.
My main concern was just to make sure I was doing everything I could to try to save his life.
He used a special program to hide identifying information about himself and his computer, then anonymously gained access to an underground drug marketplace on the dark net called Silk Road.
You got to include this talk with your kids. Summertime is the time when kids tend to experiment more with drugs.
Shelley Mowry represents Drug Free Arizona and says children are 50% less likely to use drugs if their parents talk to them about the dangers early and often.
And this has got to be on your radar screen.
Sometimes I'll rock him. Just hold him in my arms.
Kat Forey keeps her son's ashes close. She hopes other families can avoid her pain. Reminders of her only child are everywhere now. The two were working to perfect the doors on her kitchen cabinets when he died. To this day, they're still unfinished.
When I lost him, then I've had a terrible time going on.
Kat says she noticed some other warning signs too. Her son's eating habits became extreme. He would eat excessive amounts of sugary foods and then do the same thing with salty items. Then he would lock himself in his room and eat the food in there. I'm investigator Lori Jane Gliha, ABC 15 News.
I tell you, as a parent of a teenager, it's tough to talk to him about anything, but I think you just got to not be afraid to get in their business and do something if you suspect something.
Yeah, and you have to start even younger than that. There's talking tips on their website, even starting at kindergarten, so it's not just the high schoolers. And according to Drug Free AZ, it's 1 in 10 kids in our state admit to trying synthetic drugs to get high.